Chapter 21, day 21, church, we're almost home. Paul has a tough trip to Jerusalem. You know, if you've gone from the United States of America to Israel, there's jet lag. Well, jet lag is nothing like what Paul experienced on his trip to go back to Jerusalem. Paul ends up at the center of the gossip and rumor mill. He's a part of the gospel of gossip, and these rumors land Paul in jail. What a doozy we have today, church. You see, Paul wasn't messing around. His commitment to the message of Jesus Christ and the fact that there's only one way back to the Father, and that's through Jesus, it was intense, and he didn't take it lightly. He walked boldly in obedience, even when it meant that he was imprisoned and had hard times, even when it meant he was imprisoned for things that, honestly, he shouldn't have been in prison for. But Acts 21:13 shows us that Paul can be a lot like us. He wasn't necessarily ready to face hardship, yet when he talked to the Lord about that, God brought him to the time and the place with the power of the Holy Spirit. The question is, are you ready? Are you ready for the call? If you're not ready for the call, have you made that known to the Lord? And have you submitted yourself to be ready when he does call? Church, if you do it out of your own power, if you do it out of your own might, if you do it out of your own mentality, you will fail. And God knows you will fail because so many have done it throughout all the centuries. But when the power of God comes on you and the calling of God comes on you, you have to walk boldly in the calling and the obedience. As believers, we should expect to walk in that boldness. We should walk in that boldness not only to the commitment to our families, to our church, but most importantly to God and to Jesus, Yeshua HaMashiach. You're going to face hardships in that. Sometimes you're going to face hardships in your marriage, with your children. The Bible does not tell you that life is going to be easy. The Bible does not promise you that you will never have hardships. And that's sometimes where we get offline with our relationship with God. The mission of Christ shows us that the last moments of his life, the last days of his life, were some of the hardest of his life. So if we're truly on a journey to be like Christ, we should expect that the further we go in our walk, the more trials and hardships we will come up against ourselves. We can't reach our full potential in our calling, like Ephesians 2:10 says, unless we go through the trials to understand when there's joy. I'll leave you with these meditation moments today. Church, what's holding you back from you taking your faith and obedience to the next level? Are you allowing outside sources to derail you from that boldness and that commitment to the calling to your families, to your marriage, to the church, but most importantly, to Yeshua? Our prayer point for this week, for today, is Acts chapter 21, verse 14, a prayer for God's will to be done. How many of us can really get to a point in our life, even in some of the hardest of trials, even when it seems like God has opened up the door and all of a sudden the door has been slammed? How many of us can really just say, you know what, Lord, thy will be done? That's our prayer point for today. I love you, church. I'm praying for you. I'm so excited for what God is doing. But most importantly, I'm excited that you're drawing closer to God in your own time, your secret place, and your intimacy. I love you. We'll see you tomorrow.